Could you imagine never seeing a polar bear again? Or having to move because your whole town is underwater? Everyone is aware of global warming and why it's starting to be a problem, but no one really cares because it's not affecting them. People just know it's going to get worse as time goes on, as long as we have these huge corporations to burn up all the fossil fuels to make the cars and trucks that burn up all the gas. And some people have no idea about global warming, or just don't care because they know that the serious repercussions won't come until after they're dead. And still they don't care, knowing that their children and their children's children are the ones that are going to have to pay the price for our mistake now. There are so many things that people in the world do that cause these issues, yet only a select few are doing anything to try and stop the destruction of the planet. There's a lot of research that backs up global warming, so today I'm going to tell you the causes and effects, how ways to help prevent global warming, and how the world would be a better place to live in the long run. The world is safe for now, until the Earth's average temperature, aka global warming, starts to increase due to too many greenhouse gases. And greenhouse gases come from carbon dioxide emissions from burning fossil fuels and deforestation, which trap heat into the Earth's atmosphere. We need greenhouse gases because they keep heat close to the Earth's atmosphere, and which makes living even possible for humans and animals. But the overeminence of greenhouse gases due from burning fossil fuels is what causes global warming, because so much heat trapped in the atmosphere raises Earth's average temperature, and it's climbed about 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit since the 1880s. The reason behind the heat is the amount of greenhouse gases from the start of the industry in the 1770s. When the Industrial Revolution began, these huge corporate factories started popping up all over the country, and they started to chop down trees and dig up fossil fuels to make the cars and trucks and boats and planes that burn up all the gas. And now the US emits 6 billion tons of carbon dioxide into the air, and 40% comes from power plants alone. Because the US throws so much carbon dioxide in the air without planting a tree every time they cut one down, serious repercussions are to come. Arctic ice is disappearing, causing animals like polar bears and penguins to suffer due to sea ice loss. There are glaciers and mountain snows that are melting as well, and Montana's Glacier National Park once had 150 glaciers in 1910 and now only has 27. And since all the ice is melting, that means the sea levels are rising, 8 inches to be exact. And things like the coral reef are suffering because even they're sensitive to even the smallest change in temperature, and due to bleaching, which is die-off in response to stress. And this stress comes from lack of sunlight due to the water levels rising and the acidity in the water from the carbon dioxide in the air. There's also been an increase in extreme weather events such as wildfires from drought, heat waves, and deadly tropical storms like hurricanes, all caused from climate change. There are ways in which to postpone the increase of climate change that will help save the planet. These simple and not so simple tasks I'm about to tell you can have a dramatic effect on the world around you, which adds up to a bigger picture. These tasks are not only able to help the world, but you as well. One thing you could start off by doing is planting a tree, big or small, or join a local wildlife group to help plant a bunch of trees. And if you're into tree hugging, you could protest the demolition of the rainforest or other small demolition projects in your state. If you are a tree hugger, then you probably shop from organic shops and or local farmers markets. If you don't, I highly suggest it, because this raises crop production and decreases imported goods that need boats and planes to transport these goods, and the less gas guzzlers the better, which is why it's smart to carpool or walk or ride a bike if the distance is reasonable. This saves you money along with good exercise. Other good things that can save you money is by turning off unused power sources like TVs and lights and toasters and microwaves every time you leave the room. And when it gets cold, instead of turning your thermostat up 2 or 3 more degrees, just bundle up. Wear 2 coats in the house, or 2 pairs of socks or slippers along with the socks. And everyone needs to reduce, recycle, and reuse. Don't buy too much, only buy what you need. Recycle, recycle, recycle. It's that simple. And reuse whatever you can. Speaking of reusing, there are renewable resources instead of non-renewable ones like coal and oil. A non-renewable resource is a natural resource that can replenish in due time. These resources are transferred into energy using the right kind of machinery. Water being the main one, it can be used in dams to control water flow, in waterfalls, and ocean waves. These are all good examples of hydropower. Solar power comes from the energy of the sun. The light is collected through solar panels, and this energy can be used for lighting, heat, and electricity. Another source that can make energy is wind using huge turbines. And the huge turbines are used outside when it's really windy out, and the rotation of these turbines it turns into an electrical current, aka an electrical generator. These are all very useful, not to mention genius, because they're natural and can be used over and over again without any life-threatening repercussions. If we just did these tasks or helped fund these renewable resource projects, the world would not only be cleaner, but it would be balanced as well, which is healthy for everyone involved. A world that is balanced keeps its people at balance too, because if the world falls into chaos, then so does its people. With all that being said, I want you to really think about the future and how your actions now will greatly affect the outcome of Earth's health. Because everything has a cause and effect, and we can't just sit around hoping that there's no effect to the damage that we are making today. And everyone needs to take a stand to help protect the Earth from these terrible actions, because it's a living object just like you and me. Yes, Earth is here to provide for us, but if we don't use its resources wisely or start to use its renewable resources more, then it will no longer be able to provide for us, but to start to destruct, causing us to fall with it. So think, if you love your family now, aren't you going to love your family in the future? And do you really want them to suffer? And do you really want the polar bears to suffer too?